12, we are now at the final question, question 7, which is our general question. Let's get straight into it. Competitions and various other events which revolve around the honey trade are being held annually. Record is kept of how many tickets are sold. Question 7.1. Open the 7 competition word processing document and do the following. So 7 competition, we are going to open that. And the document looks like this. 7.1.1. Use the document inspector to prepare the document for distribution. So the keyword here is the document inspector. Inspect the document and remove any comments and hidden text. So we need to inspect the document by using the document inspector and remove any comments and hidden text. To get to the document inspector, we are going to click on the File button. And here in the info, we will see Inspect Documents. So we are going to click on Check for Issues, and then we go to Inspect Document. Now the question said, just to repeat, we need to remove any comments and hidden text. So let's go through this list. Comments, revision, and versions. Inspects the document for comments, so we need that one. The rest of them we do not need, except for the last one that says hidden text. Remember, the question says inspect the document to remove any comments and hidden text. So we have comments and we have hidden text. So if we inspect the document now, we will find comments and we will find hidden text. And the question said, what must we do with that? We must remove any comments and hidden text. So we say remove all, and then we can close that window. So that was step number 1. Question 7.1.2, find the word competitions highlighted in green. Here is the text competitions that's highlighted in green. The question says, insert the cross-reference below, behind the word competitions, to link to the heading honey competition regulations. So we need to add a cross-reference that reads as below. And where must we add it? Behind the word competitions. What must it be linked to? The heading honey competition regulations. So we are going to place our cursor behind competitions. Remember, there's another word that we are going to add. The word is below with the cross-reference. So let's add our space there. To do cross-referencing, we are going to go to our References tab. From References, we go to our Captions group, and there is the button that says Cross-Reference. So we click on that. Right, what did the question say? What must we link it to? To a heading. Which heading? Honey competition regulations. So we are going to link that to a heading. Which heading? Honey competition regulations. And what did they say? What must the cross-reference be? It must read below. So therefore, insert the reference to, above, or below. Now, it depends on where this heading is. If this heading appears above the word competitions, the text will read above. But in this case, the heading appears below, so therefore it will the cross-reference will say below. So if we click on insert, I will now have competitions below. How do I know that this is a cross-reference? If I let my mouse hover on it, we will see that there's a link to that. Then the question says save and close 7 competitions. So we can save this document and we can close this question. Question 7.2. Open the 7 ticket spreadsheet that contains this ticket sales data and work in the sales verkoop sheet. So if we open, just close that. If we open the 7 tickets spreadsheet, we will see that the spreadsheet looks like this. Our first question says 7.2. Use a function in cell D6 to determine the total number of hours the event lasted. Display the answer in decimal format. So we need to determine in D6 the total number of hours the event lasted. So we go to cell D6. Now we have two things that we can use. We have the beginning time and we have the ending time. Now, our calculation, if we get the correct answer, we will see this is 5:30. So from 5:30, we have 1 hour to 6:30, 1 hour to 7:30, and another half an hour. So the correct answer here would be 2.5. So what do? We say equal sign. And how do we calculate time, or the time, the number of hours between two times? We always take the later time. In this case, it will be the ending time, C6 minus B6, which is the starting time, the earlier time. And that will now give me 0.1. However, how do I convert this to the number of hours? We need to take this entire calculation. Remember our order of calculation, BODMAS, and we need to take this, multiply that by how many hours in a day? 24 hours in a day, and that will give me my answer of 2.5. So we can save this question. Right. Question 7.3. An effort has been made in cell H3 to calculate the total cost of all the tickets in column G that has been sold for an event. The price of the tickets is in cell J1. So let's quickly have a look at our spreadsheet. So over here, they want us the total amount, or the total price that needs to be paid. But the question also says a special discount of 5% applies when 1,000 or more tickets have been sold. The calculation, however, returns an error. Study the calculation and make the appropriate adjustments to display the correct answers. Copy the formula down the column. Hint: you are allowed to make use of the building blocks area if necessary. All right, so let's just break this question up into a few smaller questions. So they say we want to calculate the total cost of all the tickets in column G, but a special discount applies of 5% if 1,000 or more tickets have been sold. So let's have a look what this calculation says. So we can see a nested if calculation has been used here. So currently this question says if G3, which is the number of tickets, is less than 1,000, if that is true, then we multiply the number of tickets with the price per ticket in J1, which we can see is already not correct. If G3 is exactly 1,000, then it's the same calculation, G3 multiplied by J1. So what is the first problem that we have here? So if we have a look here, we can do this in one of many ways, but one of the ways is which criteria do you want to look at first? Do you want to look at 1,000 or more tickets, or do you want to have a look at? So we can decide whether we want to look at the greater than or equals to 1,000, or we can have a look at the less than 1,000. Remember, if it's 1,000 or more, there is a 5% discount that applies. If it's less than 1,000, then no discount applies. So let's have a look at this calculation. It seems like G3 less than 1,000, they are starting with the no discount. So this is correct. If we look at G3 less than 1,000, then it is J1, which is the price per ticket, multiplied by the number of tickets. But what is our first problem here? The first problem is this little J1 here. Because the question said we need to copy the formula down the column. If I do that, J1 is going to become J2. J2 is going to become J3 because J1 needs to be an absolute cell reference by pressing the F4 key. Now, that part is correct. So now we have, luckily, there's no discount that applies to this one because that is if they sold less than 1,000. The next part, if G3 is equals to 1,000, nowhere in the question did they mention anything about equals to 1,000. It has to be 1,000 or more. So in other words, this can't just be equals to 1,000. It has to be greater than equals to 1,000. If that is correct, then we have our J1, which is the price per ticket, multiplied by the number of tickets. However, because it is greater than equals to 1,000, we need to give a 5% discount. So how will we add the discount here? We can now say J1 multiplied by G3, which is correct, minus the 5% discount. So we can say minus, once again, J1 absolute cell reference, multiply that by the number of tickets, which is G3, divided by, now we need to get 5%, so that is multiply by 5 over 100. So let's just quickly have a look and hopefully it works. If they sold less than 1,000 tickets, it is J1 multiplied by J3, which is the price per ticket multiplied by the number of tickets. If they sold 1,000 and more tickets greater than equals to, then it is J1 multiplied by G3, and we calculated 5% of that. Let's see if that works. Right, so now we have 34,879. So let's just go and test that quickly in the building blocks. If we have these number of tickets, so we have 1,049 tickets, and we multiply that with J1 and we use our absolute cell reference, we can now, let's see what mistake that we, sorry, I said J14, it's supposed to be J1. Sorry, let's just do that again. We have J1, which is my absolute cell reference, multiplied by the number of tickets. Why is it giving me that? Sorry about that. Let's autofill. Let's see what happens with the rest of them. Okay, just a second. All right, so let's test that again. So if we say equal sign J1 multiplied by the number of tickets. The original amount was 36,715, but the new amount is 34,879. Why is it less? Because according to our calculation, we sold more than 1,000 tickets. Therefore, the 5% discount applies. Let's test, let's see, there's one there that's less than 1,000. So if we've done this correctly, this amount should be exactly the same. So it will be the price per ticket, multiply that by the number of tickets, and we get exactly the same amount. So can we see that if we spend more, if we sold more than 1,000 tickets, we get a 5% discount. There's a 5% difference between these two. But if we sold less than 1,000, we have to pay the same because there's no discount that applies. So let's just quickly have a look at this function just one last time. So if we sold less than 1,000 tickets, we have to pay the price per ticket multiplied by the number of tickets that we sold. If we sold more than 1,000 equals 2,000 equals or more than 1,000, it is going to be the price per ticket multiplied by the number of tickets, and I subtract 5% of that amount as well. I hope that makes sense. So we can then have a look at the question. Work on let's just quickly copy the formula down to the column. We did that. Make use of building blocks. I just use the building blocks to test it to see if it works. Then our very last question of this question paper says work in the subtotal sheet. So let's go to the subtotal sheet. So question 7.4 says, the subtotal feature has been applied to the data, but the correct results are not displayed. Rectify the subtotals to display the total number of tickets sold, column C, for each seating type, column B. So those are the two things that we need to work with. The total number of tickets sold, column C, for each seating type. So let's have a look. So we can see that some sort of subtotal feature has already been applied, but apparently it's incorrect. So let's go see what the problem is. So what we do is we select all of the data in this table. To get to the subtotal feature, we go to the Data tab, and then all the way to the right, there is our subtotal button. Now, this window is going to appear. So let's see what the question says. It says the total number of tickets sold. Now, if we look here at subtotal 2, it says the tickets sold, kaartjies verkoop. So that tells me that this is correct because the total tickets sold or total sold. But for each seating type, and that's where the problem comes in. Currently, where is each change? Each honey event. That's not what they asked. They said for each seat type. So if we just have a look at this question, rectify the subtotals to display the total number of tickets sold. We have the total sold or the tickets sold. That one is checked. And for each seating type. Each seating type. And if we click OK, we will now see the total number of tickets sold for each seat type. And that is then the total, the subtotal feature that we need. We can then save and close 7 tickets. So we can save and close 7 tickets. While this is closing, grade 12s, I hope that this helps. I hope that you use these videos. And just want to say best of luck to you for your prelim exams. I know you guys are going to do me very, very proud and you're going to put everything in. Please remember just a few things. Do not spend too much time on a question that you struggle with. Move on. Look at your mark allocations. If a question is 2 marks, spend 2 minutes on it. If a question is 3 marks, 3 minutes. Do not get stuck on a question. Also, go through the question paper during your reading time. Identify the questions that you can do easily. Do those questions first. Thank you very much, grade 12s. I hope you have an excellent and wonderful prelim exam. I know you guys are going to do well. Best of luck to you. Bye-bye.